Hello, welcome to the Wise Way to Success podcast. And today I'm super excited about my guest. She is going to help us with forgiveness and how to get past those feelings of resentment, anger, and shame. Thank you so much to my mindset coach, Shiva. Welcome to the Wise Way to Success, where it's our mission to help people with their mental health. So Shiva, could you tell me a little bit more about you?
Absolutely. So my journey in forgiveness began about 10 years ago. I am a survivor of domestic abuse. So back in that time where I was in that situation, it's interesting how I got into this. So I'm just going to speak on that a little bit. When I was in that situation, it's been about 10 years now, this whole situation happened. And I remember the last event that happened between us, this situation landed me in the hospital with fractured ribs and stitches over my eyes. And I remember that time, I couldn't go anywhere. So one day I decided to go to the library. And as I was walking through the aisles, this book fell on my head out of absolutely nowhere. And I picked up the book, and it was The Power of Positive Thinking. I read that book cover to cover to cover, and that book completely transformed my life. And there was this one passage in the book. It was a prayer, and it goes, and I'm paraphrasing, and it goes under the line of, I'm gonna just bring it back in. It says, the power of God is within me, and if God is for me, then nothing can be against me. So I put my faith in the hands of God, and may He guide me along the way. And every single morning and every single night, I was saying this mantra from when I would wake up, go to work, and come back. And something ended up overtaking me as I was saying this mantra. 4 weeks after that whole situation, I finally had the courage to leave. I packed my bags, took my son, and we left. At that time, I was living in another province, and I moved back to Montreal. I called my mom. I said, you got to come get me. I'm not in a good place. Once I came back, the whole healing process was very difficult for the first year. I was very depressed. I was very down. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And I had this little baby, and I just didn't know how to process the whole situation. And one day we were walking through Canadian Tires, and I saw this video. It was a fitness video. I said, you know what? I'm just going to pick it up, and I'm going to start doing something with myself. After 3 days, it's like something completely changed inside of me. And not too long after, my mother said, Shiva, there's a meditation center down the street. Go see them, go do something. You're not in a good state, and it's not good for your baby. So I went, and that's when I met Dr. Marilyn Rossner. So we started to do meditation, and not too long after that, I started working with Dr. Bali into the yoga community.
Oh, of course.
Yes, yeah, right, Dr.
Well
Madam Bali,
yes.
Absolutely. So I was certified in his therapeutic yoga, and not long after that, I met Dr. Lily Rahman, and I was certified in her crystal therapy and energy work. So a lot of this ended up becoming a lifesaver for me. And what I learned along the journey is that when we're in a state of depression and feeling really down, we tend to be very angry, and we always point the finger, and we always want to blame. And we forget that the whole process has to come back to us, and taking a moment to learn to forgive. And when we forgive, it's not about forgiving someone for the actions. It's not about saying that what they did is to condone their behavior. Right. It has to do with acknowledging that they come from that place of ignorance, and you're forgiving their ignorance, not their actions. It's very different, right?
Yes, it is.
It's acknowledging that they come from a place of ignorance, and they too come from a place of pain. Right? So what you do is you forgive that ignorant behavior, and then you start to look at yourself, and you have to forgive yourself. Because we have a tendency, especially as women and of mothers, saying, it's my fault. What did I do to get into this situation? What did I do to trigger this situation? Why did it happen to me? And when we stay into that, why me, why me, why me, there's so many reasons why the universe can keep showing you why something is happening to you. Right. We need to change that dialogue and start saying, I forgive myself for the actions that I took. I forgive myself for the decisions that I take. And we have to remember too that when we point that finger, there's always 3 other fingers that are pointing right back at us.
Absolutely.
right? So that's the opportunity where we can say to ourselves, okay, how can I take full responsibility for my actions, for my thoughts, for my decisions? And what am I going to do today that's going to start making me a better person, not just for myself, but for my son, for my children, for my family, and those around me? So forgiveness is a big thing that happens, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's something that we need to come to on a regular basis, but begin with yourself first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an internal journey.
Absolutely.
It's internal, and it's interesting because we start to shame ourselves.
Yeah.
The critical voice says, well, and become a victim.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Why would someone feel they could treat me like that?
Exactly.
So we need to break away from shame. And the way to heal, by the way, one of the key components to healing is by forgiving yourself, which is not easy to do. So the first thing you need to do is, in my opinion, is you need to understand yourself.
Yeah.
Have compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
And recognize that, you know what, you got into a situation that wasn't, you know, healthy or wasn't good, but it's okay.
It's okay if you can see the lessons learned behind it, and there's always a lesson behind everything.
It's okay that you know, I had a client who's very resentful. Well, I wasted my I can't have a child now. I wasted my years with this man. He never was committal. I sacrificed so much for him. So she's putting herself into victim.
Yes.
She is shaming herself. Why was I so stupid?
Yeah.
And you know, you need to look at the lessons that you learned because you had a choice. You still stayed with that person. People don't change. There is something right away about the person. They don't change. Maybe they get worse, but they're not changing. There's flags immediately.
Absolutely. And when you actually sit and look back, you will notice that the signs were always there from the beginning. They always were. But if I were to say for myself as an example, I had certain characteristics clearly that was attracting this person into my life. I was in a place in my life that was vibrationally so low that I was welcoming this kind of behavior. And I was also in a situation where there was so much external factors that were hurting me emotionally that when the physical contact started to happen, my mind was associating physical pain. Now I understand where that pain came from, but I didn't understand where the emotional pain prior to meeting this person had come from. So it was almost like now I had a reason to say why I am hurting, right? So when I came out of that situation, that story didn't fit me anymore. I couldn't relive that story anymore. It just didn't make sense. And the thing that I found really helped through this whole journey of being able to heal is to move the body. You have to move the body. Emotions are energies and motions that get stuck, right? So when feeling all these pains in the body, in the chest, and the arms, and the head, is because this energy is not moving through the body. You gotta move it. You gotta move. So when you start to exercise, when you start to stretch, all of this is starting to move through the body. And there were times where I was doing the movement and I would just start crying because these are emotions that had to come out. And what I like to tell my clients is that it's important to let it out. Don't hold it in because it has nowhere to go.
And I liked this as a good segue point here too, is that with anxiety and with fear, we avoid. And one of the biggest things I see people doing is avoiding themselves.
Yeah.
So people know my journey. I was like 16 years old. If you watch my video from OCD to CEO, and I was 16 years old with really bad OCD, and I'll never forget, I took a basket, I filled it up with clothes, and I started to run. And run and run and run.
Yeah.
And my therapist at the time asked me, where were you running to? Who were you running from? And I said, myself. And you can run, but you can't hide.
That's it.
I was running from me.
You
can't run from you. So avoiding an emotion, avoiding a pain, doesn't take it away.
That's it.
So you need to not run from yourself. You need to understand yourself. You need to be kind to yourself, be compassionate to yourself, learn from yourself, and recognize, I think really importantly, how did I get into a situation like this?
Yeah.
Take your own, you have to look at yourself too.
Take ownership.
Very easy for us to say, that person treated me like that. That person's an asshole. That person's a this.
Yeah.
What's my story in that? What's
it.
my part in that?
That's it.
And it's okay. We have a part in it.
That's it.
Even if our part is being passive, even if our part is doing nothing, that's still doing something.
That's it.
So let's talk about energy, because I'm holding this rock
Yes.
and I'm enjoying it. Can we talk about energy? So how do these rocks help with energy?
Yes, yes.
How does that work?
Absolutely. So I've been working with crystals for a very long time. We're almost going into a decade of it. And crystals are not woo-woo, okay? Let's get that clear. They're not woo-woo. The quartz are in our computers. They're in our watches. They hold frequency and vibration. And we are vibrational beings as well. So when we are in the presence of a crystal, what it does is it helps to elevate our energy as well. So yeah, we've got a real...
This is really a heavy one.
We've got a real big...
But this is good.
Yes.
So what is being surrounded by something like this?
So what you have right now is a rose quartz. So a rose quartz holds the frequency and the vibration of compassion and of forgiveness. And I want to be clear also that you're working with the elements of earth here, right? So everything is created by God. So we are channeling the energy of a higher creator, higher power, and we're allowing it to come through us. And when we hold these crystals, and this one here is the black tourmaline, this one is a very grounding stone. So if you're going to combine these two, you've got grounding, so it holds you stable, and you're working through the emotion of forgiveness. So when someone holds these, it's just a reminder to allow yourself to process your emotions. So what's really good is also breathing. So movement is very important, and breathing is really important, because now you're giving yourself permission to release. And I think this is really important. People don't give themselves permission, right? We hold on to the guilt, and we hold on to the blame, and we hold on to the anger, and it does us absolutely nothing.
No.
And the body hurts. The body tries to tell you by all these triggers that are not feeling good, you gotta let it go. And when we don't, then comes those dis-eases through the body. So always on an energetic level, the body is speaking to us.
So could you give the wise community who watches the show, either by YouTube or a podcast, a breathing technique that would help them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So always begin by closing your eyes, keeping your feet on the ground. You want to relax your shoulders. Go ahead and close your eyes, and we're going to take a couple breaths. So take a big inhale, and you're going to let go with a sigh.
Okay.
Good. We're going to do it 2 more times, and you're going to exhale for as long as you can. Inhale.
Okay.
Exhale. One more good inhale. And exhale. Good. Now, keeping your eyes closed, what you're going to do is you're going to start to scan the body. You're going to start to scan the body from the top of the head, all the way down the shoulders and arms, down your chest, down your hips, down to your legs. You're going to take another big inhale and exhale. Now, this is where the dialogue with the body begins. My dear body.
My dear body.
You don't have to say it.
Okay.
You can if you want, but you don't have to say it. But you can simply say, my dear body, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for allowing this dialogue to happen. And my dear body, show me now where you are feeling tension in the body. And this is when you bring your awareness right away to a part of the body where you feel tight or uncomfortable. And just bring your awareness there for a moment. And then take another breath. Inhale. And exhale right into that part of the body where it's feeling tight. One more time, big inhale. Exhale. Good. One more time, inhale. Release. Now bringing your awareness right where the body wants you to be. That's where the dialogue happens. My dear body, what is it that you want me to know right now? And this is where you trust the first thing that comes through, and you don't question it. Sometimes it's a word, sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's a feeling. My dear body, what is it that you want me to know right now? Now, my dear body, what is the next action that I must take right now? And you want to take a big inhale, exhale, 2 more times, inhale, exhale, 1 more. Inhale and exhale. Good. My dear body, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for speaking with me. And when you're ready, you slowly open your eyes. And this is a good time to have a journal right beside you and start to journal. Because journaling is the key to all those little things that we don't want to hear about ourselves. And in journaling is those little nuggets of answers that are always there for us. So if we do go back and read our journal, you would be amazed at how much guidance and how much wisdom you have inside of you that'll help you go on to your next steps and the next journey. And as you start doing that, you start building more trust in yourself, more trust in your intuition and your gut. And that ends up opening up so many other opportunities for you.
Interesting, amazing. And it was really, like, I'm going to tell you, it really was very effective. It told me I need to go to sleep.
Right? Absolutely.
It told me you need rest.
Yeah.
So what is your body telling you? It actually was telling me you need to rest.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting because I felt myself going on go. And when we did that, I really felt my body speaking to me. So it's pretty intense.
It is very intense.
Really interesting.
And you see how simple and how quick and how effective it is. Now the hardest part is listening.
So you could, so you let your body speak to you. Now you need to listen to your body
and then take action. Yes.
Fascinating.
Yes.
So this was a great tool. I highly suggest people try it out.
Absolutely.
And I need to go. I guess I need to go to sleep.
Yes.
What is just really quickly, what is one step somebody can do towards forgiving somebody that has hurt them?
The biggest thing that I would say I would recommend is to take full ownership of you, because we cannot control anybody's actions, anybody's reactions, words, but you're fully responsible for your own words, your own thoughts, your own actions, and your reactions. So when you start taking that full ownership, full responsibility on how you are going to react towards that person, that becomes a game changer. We always want a magic pill. We always want the simple answer, but people don't realize you've got those answers, you've got those tools, and the ugly work you have to do. And when you do that work, that's when that process ends up opening up something inside of you that you didn't even realize was there. And again, it's not about forgiving their action or what they did to you. It's about forgiving the ignorant behavior of that person. It's very different, because coming from a place of ignorance means they didn't know any better. And if they knew better, they wouldn't have done it. So they really didn't know any better.
Amazing.
And that's their ignorance.
How can people find you?
Yes, so actually we do have a wellness center. Before this quarantine happened, we did have to close it, but you can find us at alchemy4humanity.com. That's alchemy4humanity.com. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram under my name, Shiva Golzadeh. And that's that.
I want to thank you so much. You are officially a Wise Way mentor. Okay?
Wonderful.
You're a Wise Way mentor. I want to thank the Wise community for tuning in, learning, and growing. Remember, I am on a mission to help you with your mental health. Thank you, and have a wise day.
Yes, thank you.